and some shit happens. I will say that shit happens.
Sure, it does.
It's
the start of Infinity.
There's not just one fan on the ceiling. You walk into a ceiling full of fans, and then on the bottom there's like a launch pad of your shit, and you just hit the button, and the fans are on full blast. And there's even fans on the sides that are on, and it's a shit room, dude. Just fucking shit flying everywhere. The shit hits the fans, plural. It was fucking awesome.
Why, hello everyone, and welcome to episode 49 of the Thought Patrol podcast. This episode is going to be a little bit different because we are incredibly strapped for time, like immensely so. We're recording on a Friday night, and it's just me and Tyler hanging out this week.
Hey.
Yeah.
Throwing down on a Friday night.
People always say Saturday's for the boys, but it's really Friday. Friday's for the boys.
I mean, it's like, it's Friday and Saturday. You know, Friday is like you're getting off work. It's like you finally get to have a beer together and just talk about shit you're going to do during the weekend. And then, you know, kind of repeat the next day. And then Sunday comes along and you're like, oh, fuck it, now it's Sunday. So it's the weekend day we all hate and love at the same time because, you know, Monday's coming up. So, you know, this is the start. This is honestly the best part. I actually like Friday nights better than Saturdays because it's the beginning.
It sets in motion the rest of the weekend.
Exactly.
Yeah, but technically, me and Caitlyn were going on vacation with our family, so we won't even be here Sunday, and that's why we're doing this all ahead of time. So yeah, we're just gonna kind of hang out, talk about what's been going on. I have my God of War opinions. I've been playing a bit of that game, probably about 15 hours into it. Talk about what I think about it, and we're just gonna hang out for a bit, talk about some things. So, Tyler, you first. How has your week been, dude?
My week has been pretty long and at first boring, but it's actually I'm liking it now. So, you know me, I'm the Mr. Firefighter, Mr. September. If you see a calendar one day, I might be out there just the pants and the straps and all, nothing else. And yeah, baby. Coming out to a store near you, but no. I actually recently started a class for gonna enhance my education in the fire service. It's actually a pump and apparatus operations course. It's a 2-week course, Monday through Friday, pretty much all day. Today we actually got out early, but you know, just learning how to pump the truck. And you know, I mean, as kind of boring as that sounds, because you think firefighter, you just think, oh yeah, put out the water. But you know, you got to think about the guys behind the scenes. You know, it's the guys that are.
You just say put out the water.
Put out the water.
Put out the water.
Oh, we're off to a great start here, guys. You know, I mean, it's this is what I bring to the table when I come on these podcasts. So you know, exactly. I hope people enjoy my quirkiness. Yeah. But putting out the fire, correction, yes, with the water. But yeah, so it's really about the guys behind the scenes. You know, without them, we wouldn't be getting adequate amounts of water
to put out the water.
Yeah, and because there's a lot of math that comes back into it. So I have to go back now, drive all the way back down south, go to my high school, my middle school, my elementary school, and whoever else taught me math, and like thank them, but also be like, hey, you still didn't fucking teach me shit because you know, if they had pump ops class in high school, I would have definitely went to that. So yeah, a lot of math I had to kind of refresh my stuff on, like equations and stuff like that, but like, it's its own thing. So, that's the kind of the boring part, but once you start getting it, and, we have some instructors that make it, they bring a lot of like enthusiasm and stuff to the table. So it actually makes it fun. So as hard as that says, as hard as it is to say that math is fun. But, I mean, it can be. Anyways, so, yeah, I've been doing that, and now I have the weekend off, but I work tomorrow. I'm on shift there, and so other than that, that's pretty much the meat and potatoes. I mean, we'll get probably talk over the course, but, you know, what games I've been playing. I'll tell you, I mean, you know, obviously I play a little bit more Fortnite. That's pretty much the only game I really play. Even though, like, it's funny, I always tell myself I want to play more games. I really want to start getting back into it, and it's kind of like I'm on the edge of the seat. And I was actually, I was texting Shawn actually yesterday, and he sent me like a text today, but I think he meant to send it like, I think he just now replied to me, or he meant to send it yesterday. I don't know, but we were gonna play Bloodborne. I was gonna play with him. He was talking about it and everything, and I was actually pretty excited to get back into it. But work and time differences and stuff like that. So we'll find a day and we'll get back. I'll get back into it and I'll play with him. It'll be a lot of fun. There was recently an indie sale on the Xbox Marketplace for some horror games. So I went out and bought some games, and amongst them was Outlast 2. I remember playing the first one, back in the days with Jonathan, and I believe all you guys were like in the room as we were playing it. And,
Yeah.
I know you've played the game before.
I've played both of them. I want to know what you think of the second one, because I did not like it whatsoever.
I haven't started it at all. I've seen a good amount of it. Nothing to really spoil myself with like the plot details. I mean, I know you're like another guy with like his wife or something like that, and I think you guys crashed or something, and you're trying to find her. That's as much as I pretty much get, and like I'm assuming she probably gets captured, and who knows. It can probably get pretty interesting because it's like a lot of like I think it's because how the first one was with the asylum, so obviously crazy people there. This is like the middle of BFE, so it's probably crazy fucking white trash people or something like that, and there's probably some sort of cult thing going on. I'm assuming. I know there's something with the school. Like I've seen scenes with like a school. I don't know if that's like a flashback thing or like they find, because it looked like a really cleanly school. For the most part, besides the horror aspect, because obviously there's gonna be blood and stuff in it. But like I'm like that, you don't find a school like that in the middle of like fucking nowhere. So who knows? But yeah, so I've yet to play that, and I'm just now forgetting the other game I impulse bought, because it was I've never heard it before, and pretty much what I did, I was like, hey, it's a cheap game. It was like $6 or something like that. I saw the trailer and I was like, okay, this looks cool. I like it. I can buy it. If I like the atmosphere, if it suits like the things that I kind of like to see around, like a lot of like if it's claustrophobic, dark, obviously you're by yourself. I mean, I pretty just named every horror, like first person horror game.
Exactly.
but I mean, I like those things. So I mean, seeing another one, this one actually looked good with like detail. It didn't look too bad. So, but who knows? I can get that game name back to you one of these days.
When you remember.
Yeah, from the next 10 podcasts from now.
Exactly.
And then that's about it really. I don't think there's anything else really going on. I mean, coming into the summer here, so I got some stuff planned. Some big stuff I will probably release after it happens, just because of things. Kind of nervous.
No spoilers.
But let's just say some big things and they're going to be rolling around the corner here pretty soon. So yeah, it'll be pretty cool.
Are you having a baby?
No, at least I hope not. That'd be news to me. I'm pretty sure I pulled out, but I don't know.
Wait, I thought I was in her ass.
Yes, I think Christian.
That felt like an ass. I thought my dick smelled like shit afterwards.
Yeah. It was some like orifice. Who knows?
It was dark. I didn't know.
It was dark and wet, and there were noises, and yeah, I got a cramp. But all right, that's enough of me. How about you, Kyle? How's your week, bud?
My week's been eventful. Well, at least in the entertainment department.
Do tell.
We've been, me and my next door neighbor, or used to be next door neighbor, Chris. I put him in the Discord group that we're in, and we've been hanging out more and more, playing games on PC and stuff like that. Because we used to play League all the fucking time. Like, when I said I played League for 3 straight years because I didn't have a console, that's exactly what I did. Like, pretty much. Most of high school was me playing League of Legends every day. I'd come home, get on the computer, and play League. And he was one of the people I play with, like, every day. And all we did was play League of Legends. But he picked up Siege, and we've been playing that. But we recently started watching, because I've been watching anime with one of my other friends, Hector. We'd, like, every night from 12 to 1, we'd watch anime. We'd watch, like, 3 episodes, and then we'd go to sleep. And Chris wanted in on it, so a couple nights that Hector wasn't available, I'm like, Chris, you want to watch something? He's like, yeah. So I'm like, I'll figure something out. We'll look around. And there's this one show that I completely forgot about that I never watched, and because it looks stupid, but I thought it'd be fun to watch with another person, and that's called Keijo, or Keijo. Now, if you've never heard of this show, which most of you either have or haven't, Keijo is a sport that it's popular in Asia. It's not just Japan. And this sport is you have a bunch of females standing on top of something called the land that sits in a pool. And the main goal of the game is you have to use either your breasts or your ass to knock an enemy off the land in the water. I was about you with my titties. Into the water. And this whole show is like the what if Keijo became an actual professional sport, and it's a shonen, so it's like kind of like Kuroko no Basket, which is like basketball, but it's with superpowers. This is Keijo with like superpowers. So these girls have like these insane abilities that involve either using their ass or tits as a weapon. And the show is just hilarious. And of course there's a lot of fan service. It's one of those types of shows. And just watching with someone else, it's so funny because it's completely 100% off the wall. It's over the top as much as it could be. And because it's like that, it feels just like a parody, like straight up parody, making fun of shonen in general, and just being off the cuff 100% of the time. It's just funny to watch. And like Tyler, in the realms of like this girl, she was a gymnastics, right? So she did this thing where she was doing like kind of like cartwheels but faster around the edge of the land, and she generated a shitload of speed. And she converted all of that energy into her hips and did something and they have names for all their attacks, called the vacuum butt cannon. And like her ass like lit up and almost killed someone else. Like literally blew off like the bathing suits of two. Like, it's fucking ridiculous show. It's so stupid.
Blew off the
and
I need to get the name.
And
for science, of course, for science reasons.
Yeah, for science reasons. There was another girl that like she swings her tits like a pendulum, and it hypnotizes other people. So she got like 3 of them to fall off just using her boobs by swinging them like a pendulum. There's one girl that like her ass like has the spirit of a wolf inside of it or some shit, and it's actually like feral and it attacks people. And again, absolutely fucking ridiculous show. There's this one girl, she fought, you know, like Luffy from One Piece, Tyler, and he has that ability where he swings his fist so fast, he calls it the Gatling something.
Swinging them titties.
Like they do it with their ass, and it looks just like it does from One Piece, where there's like a bunch of after images of the butt, and because they're moving so fast, you can't even watch it. It's fucking ridiculous. And so the entire show is just like a shonen where this group of characters are going to rise to the top and become the very best in Keijo, and that's exactly what it is. And there's fights going on all the time. It's fucking ridiculous.
Oh my god!
So I've been watching that. That was Chris.
Your week, Kyle?
No, well, that was one of the animes you've been watching.
that was like
this is the type of shit where like when someone thinks anime, this is like the stuff that their mind goes to. They're not thinking about Erased or Attack on Titan or My Hero. They're thinking about like Keijo or Kill la Kill. Although Kill la Kill is good, but it had that fan service in it as well. This is what people's minds drift to when they think about anime, because these are like the extreme outliers. Although there's a shitload of stuff like that, but so besides that, me and Hector have been watching Darling in the Franxx, which is a different show that is actually like really fucking good. And we caught up on that, and that show's like really good. Like, it's just really good, and it's just like a coming of age story about all these kids and in this dystopian world, and just I don't want to go fully into it. We've talked about it before, and we even got into a pretty big discussion last episode about it, but really enjoying that show. Recently caught up. The last episode we watched was 15. So all you out there that are watching that show is fucking awesome. It is so good. I like it a lot. My Hero's great as always.
You said Chris was your... No, I'm sorry. I was just... Before I forgot, it kept going on. But I was going to ask about Chris. You said he was your old neighbor? That they moved away?
Yeah. They moved away. I think they live by my grandmother now in like about 15 minutes away. So they didn't move too far away. But yeah, they don't live They don't live right next door anymore. The different set of people moved in there.
Gotcha.
So, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I was like, hold on, what? Dang.
Because I haven't seen him since I graduated. I don't think. Well, he's been like here and there, but like on a daily, like we kind of do now. It hasn't been that way in a very long time. So it's cool to have like him like there again, even if it's over the internet. Like fucking Shawn, I've never even seen in person, and I hang out with him every day. He's one of my best friends. And we do it all over the internet.
Technology is such a great thing. It can bring people together. It can show you an immense amount, endless pool of titties, whether it's
I knew it was going that way. Games. I knew it was going that way.
I had to go that way. I was trying to segue back into that. Yep, the internet's a great thing.
Indeed. So we were watching that. My Hero's been good. I think you'd like My Hero Academia, Tyler. It's fucking fantastic.
I've seen it. I mean,
we saw. You've only seen
we saw a good amount
of like the first season.
Obviously, I missed a lot.
Yeah, you need to continue it. It's already on its third season. It's really good. Like the second season is fantastic.
I'm like, I'll start something and then I'll wait fucking forever to.
It's on Funimation and Crunchyroll. So if you want to watch it in English, they have it available. You don't have to watch it in Japanese. It's on Funimation.
What makes you think I want to watch it in English?
Actually, is it on Funimation or Hulu? One of those. I know it's also on Crunchyroll. That's how I watch it. And it's good. It's great, man. It's the reason every time it's airing, it's above everything. One Piece, Dragon Ball. It's literally at number 1 every time that there's season for it going, which is testament to something. It's fucking fantastic. It's really good. Everything from the music, the animation, the pacing, the story, the characters. It's just a very a very quality product. I don't know why I said that twice. Very product. Yeah, fantastic show. That's been anime, really. I haven't seen Infinity War yet. What do you think about that, Tyler? Without any spoilers.
Okay. So, I actually, right before this podcast started, I had just returned
from watching the movie.
So
fresh in your mind.
It's fresh in my mind. But of course, after seeing a movie, it's always like it's still kind of it's processing a lot. I'm still like digesting a lot, and of course the hype is still there. So I mean, without giving any spoilers, and I'll give you a toned down version of it because otherwise I'll be yelling through the fucking mic for like just like inaudible noise. It was a fantastic movie. It's definitely something to see and enjoy even more so if you have either read the comics and obviously watched all the movies since Iron Man back in 2008. So it's 10 years in the making, a decade. I was 12 years old when Iron Man came out.
Same, dude.
So we're 22 now, going on 23. And I remember next to me there was a kid who's probably maybe a little bit less than 12. He might have been like 10 or like 9 or 10 years old, and he had an Iron Man shirt on and everything. And I was just kind of thinking that was me.
Come full circle.
We come full circle. Full circle. And chances are he's if he was younger, those movies have been going on longer than he is old. Based on his age. So I'm like, holy shit, this is like I had a weird ass epiphany. I'm like, here I am. That was me, however many years ago, and he is now at such a young age, but he's watching it. He got the luxury to kind of probably watch it all. I don't know where I was going.
Either that, or someone he's seen like maybe the other Avengers, and his family just brought him, so he might not have seen everything.
Maybe, but I'm assuming he did. I mean, because he sounded really excited for a lot of stuff. Like at the stuff I was excited about too. So you kind of get that connection with Marvel fans. Especially if they stay after the credits. That's always a thing. There is an end credits scene. So obviously go watch the movie. Stay for the end credits. If not, you are not a real Marvel fan. You are a DC fan.
Why you gotta make them feel bad?
Because I just like taking shots at them. Because after seeing that, it's Marvel is even like further like DC. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to. I'm just poking fun at DC. It's all fun games because I'll still pay to watch their movies too. It's always fun to poke at them. But yeah, DC is pretty much like they have already been shot in the head, and they're just continuing to get shot in the head. with like a fucking shotgun point blank. Like, um,
It's the best.
okay, yeah. But anyways, yeah, it was a great film. The way how it's a fairly long film too. It's just under 3 hours. I want to say it was probably like 2 hours and 40 minutes, 45 minutes. So, um, they do a great job at portraying a lot of the characters that they have developed over the years, as well as kind of quickly adding in new ones as well. And they do like a tremendous job actually with kind of having them slowly mend into the new with the old characters, and have them kind of interact with them too. And it doesn't feel entirely rushed. There's a lot of ground to cover, that's for sure, but it's definitely it's like how they said before the movie actually came out. It's the movie's developed like a heist film, where it's based on the trailers, he's going Thanos, the main antagonist, he's going to find all the Infinity Stones. So that's kind of how the movie is kind of paced. So it's him pursuing these stones, but it starts right off with feet running on the ground. Is how the movie starts, and it doesn't stop till all the way at the end. There's very few slow parts in between, so you definitely find yourself at the edge of the seat. And there's obviously a lot of the Easter eggs you always pick up, and there's a lot of like hat tilting off to the previous films and the comics as well. So that was pretty cool seeing that stuff. So I definitely, it's definitely a movie you can enjoy more if you already know some of the source material, and again have watched the previous films. If you're just kind of going into it, it's still a fun, family packed, action movie to go see with your kids.
Did you say a fun, family packed?
Family packed, babe. Well, because there were tons of families there. You go take your families to go see those movies now.
Oh my god,
it's awesome. It's a comic book, kids read comic books, and they'll definitely go with their parents, and I'm sure their parents too had, when they were their age, if like around that time, they were probably read those comics as well, and watched like those older cheesy movies from back in the day, and even TV shows. So I mean, kind of having it that's why I feel like the Marvel is like kind of doing though too, kind of like how Star Wars is. They're kind of passing on the torch in the sense, it feels like. So I really dig that.
I'm glad you
do. Dude. I'm still like I said, still digesting. I'll definitely go see it like once or twice more. But it's all like floating around in my brain. And some shit happens. I will say that shit happens.
Sure, it does. It's the start of Infinity.
There's not just one fan on the ceiling. You walk into a ceiling full of fans, and on the bottom there's like a launch pad of just shit, and you just hit the button, and the fans are on full blast. And there's even fans on the sides that are on, and it's a shit room, dude. Just fucking shit flying everywhere. The shit hits the fans, plural. It was fucking awesome. All right. Sorry, I had a little Hulk coming up.
I'm gonna have to turn that down. Jesus, you blew my ears out.
Okay, I was trying to like hold that back, but inevitably it cannot be stopped. It cannot be contained.
Start to hear police sirens in the background. They thought somebody just got murdered.
Yeah, right. 5 out of 5 though. Yep, good stuff.
Oh man, I'm glad you enjoyed it. Speaking of movies, they had they have the Ghibli thing going on for 2018, and me and Caitlyn have been slacking. The thing is it's not in the same movie theater. It's like one in Sheridan, so it'd be a trek to get over there.
On the Movie Co. or the Cinemark, it's honestly a little bit further than the Regal. It's not that bad. You're just gonna.
No, it's not. I don't think it's that one. It's a different Regal. It's like
on Sheridan.
Not on Sheridan. So I don't know. I need to look at it again. I was mad.
Well, it's further.
That's all I remember. I think it's like I don't know. But they're playing a bunch of different movies, and me and Caitlyn need to get back to that. Things like with work and everything, it's a pain in the ass. But
yep, that's life.
Yeah, so that's been that. I'm thinking, what else? We haven't really seen any movies. I want to go see Infinity War. I also want to see Deadpool 2 when that comes out, which is soon.
Mm-hmm. That's supposed to be pretty good too.
It's like really early May, right? May 5th? I think May 5th is what pops to.
Or was it 25th? Was it beginning of May? Maybe. I don't know. Yeah, it's definitely in May though.
Deadpool 2 release date. May
Yeah, that's
18th.
gonna be good.
May 18th.
18th.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm super pumped for that shit.
Oh yeah, they're marketing that just
It's
really
all over
good.
the
I mean,
place.
it's. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I saw before that though. The last movie I saw was A Quiet Place.
Oh
Was that the
yeah.
name of the movie?
Caitlyn saw that
Yeah,
too. She really liked it.
yeah. I thought that was a really good movie in terms of like the silence. I mean, literally that is the theme. You're in that theater and you can hear someone walking down like the
God
ramp on the
forbid.
side.
That reminds
And
me.
yeah, right.
That reminds me of that one moment. I don't know what movie we were watching, and we talked about this already once, so I'm not going to go too far into it. But for some reason, I was watching a movie with Caitlyn. It was probably something funny. I don't know, but it made her laugh, and she fucking ripped a big ass fart in the middle of the movie.
She's probably gonna hate you for that.
I'm pretty sure
Have you
we
ever
shared
had
this.
that before?
I've never.
It was like
I've had times where I've had to hold my waist for extended periods of time. I held both pee and shit
waste.
throughout the.
Oh.
Oh, not farts. Yeah, no, I've never farted in a movie theater, but I've had to. Oh, I probably have, to tell you the truth.
But
That'd be a lie.
I've farted, but I've shat myself. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's even better.
But like, I think the entirety of Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull or whatever, we saw a movie in theaters, and from the start of it, I had to poop and pee, but I didn't want to because I was a kid, and I held it the entire fucking movie, and that was like almost a 3-hour movie too. So I have bowels of steel.
Yeah, dude, you strengthen that thing.
Yeah, dude. I've trained my ass just like the girls from Keijo.
The butt, the subatomic butt pound or slam or whatever.
The vacuum butt cannon. Yeah, I still think the titty hypnosis is my favorite.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, whoever did that, the fan service for that.
It show's fucking ridiculous.
It's Caitlyn. Caitlyn, if you're hearing this, it's okay.
Everyone, girls fart. If you don't believe girls fart,
you know, they fart rainbows and butterflies. Like,
exactly.
You know, so it's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Someone in like the back row saw like a fucking butterfly flying around. Like, what the fuck did that come from?
But yeah,
whoa, a fucking rainbow!
Yeah, but she ripped ass in the middle of a movie, and we could not stop laughing. We were with her and her friend, I think. So it might have been during one of the Ghibli movies. I think something happened. We laughed, and she just ripped the fuck.
What was it?
And the first thing she did,
Oscar and the.
I don't think it was during Naushka. Voska.
The Oscar. No, wasn't Oscar in like the Valley of the Wind or something?
Naushka. No, I don't think it was during Naushka. I think it might have been during because it was just the three of us. It wasn't you. You weren't with me. I don't remember.
Okay. Because I remember I was making Caitlyn laugh a little bit. Like I think I was making like all you guys laugh. I was doing that death drum thing or whatever.
Oh yeah.
I think it went with the music, and I was like.
Speaking of death drums, have you seen the new metal Batman
thing? You know,
I think it's fucking hilarious.
I subscribe and I unsubscribe and I resubscribe from that channel just to see if they make a new video. It's particularly just for those videos. Like they just need to stop all their other material and just do that for a living. As long as they'll take. I mean, they'll definitely run out with it's very limited material, but very good. I mean, well, I wouldn't say very limited material because you can. They do mostly just I think Death Clock, but they can probably do a lot with it if they kind of break it down. But it's such a simple thing. All you do is just I mean, obviously you have the theme of Batman and then whatever death metal song they're playing. So and then this one was just really great because they had multiple songs. They had more they had like almost like a story to go with it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they've always had stories, but like it's always been with the song. But before the songs actually start, they kind of introduce new character finally. Batgirl. So that was pretty cool. I would definitely recommend go watch that Bat Metal.
It's fucking funny.
Phenomenal. I really love the animation too. I mean, it's besides all the bouncing titties and the fucking that whole scene where like this during the solo Batgirl's like she's like stripping pretty much as a strip tease. And I remember watching actually ended up watching people react to the Bat Metal, and a lot of people were like, "Whoa, like dude, what the hell? She's just taking her clothes off. Like this is on YouTube. Are you kidding me?" One guy was like, "Is there like an uncensored version of this so I can go watch this for like
research purposes?"
Yeah, exactly.
Jesus, AK, I'm gonna go beat my dick. Yeah.
But that is so funny. And then I mean, I love Metalocalypse. I love Death Clock. So I mean, putting that together with Batman, uh, and Titties, just throw those in there too. I mean, you have yourself something very special there.
Yeah, there was this this has nothing to do with what we were talking about, but there's this dude called it's like RainShard EB on YouTube, and he makes like heavy metal versions of everything practically, from anime music to video game music to even like Euro beat stuff.
Yeah.
And he does a fantastic. I'll after this episode, I want to show you some of the songs, because he did like the Pokemon theme song, and no, that wasn't him. That was Jonathan Young. That was a different singer. Mm-hmm. But speaking of that, Jonathan Young did a remake of the Pokemon theme song that was like that, and it had the original singer from the original song in it too.
Really?
So it's both of them singing.
I wonder if I've seen that, because I've seen like a lot of things that you've been talking about, but I know.
Just remind me, or I'll try and remember. And after this, we could go through like I'll show you some of these YouTube videos. They're really cool, and like the video with it's awesome. Oh, yeah. And it's just cool to be like there, and it's a really good like remake of the song too, like from the guitar, everything. It's just really fucking good, and it's awesome.
Yeah, it is.
What was I gonna say? So yeah, I need to remember so we could watch some YouTube after this, because I want to show you some of those things. They're good, and we don't get to hang out enough, bitch. You're on your phone, right? Talking to me right now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'm trying
to. I'm on one phone as I'm looking at my other phone. I got a new one. I'm just like looking at stuff to talk about. It's like, I don't know.
I'm trying to figure out how the hell we would watch videos together. You probably have to put it on your PlayStation or something, or I don't know. Or you have two phones. Fuck it. You can watch on your other phone. Excusez-moi.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's been good. Now for games, a couple things. I recently rebought for the third time Nier Automata, so I have 3 copies of that game now. But the third one I got was on sale, so it's not that bad. I just
really love that fucking game. Yes, it's not that bad. I played the game a bunch of times, and I have 3 copies of it. It's not that bad. I don't have a problem. It's okay.
One of them, the first 2 are explainable. The first one was a digital version because I wanted to play it at midnight, and the other one was coming in through Amazon, so I wasn't going to get it till a certain time the next day. I was really excited for this game, if you could not pick up on that. So the second one, since I had the game already, I just left the physical version like in its wrap, and it sits on my shelf next to the soundtrack that I bought for it. So they're kind of just chilling out there, because I was mad because I couldn't get the special edition. So that was kind of like how I made myself happy that I couldn't get the special edition. Eventually, I probably will have a statue of 2B somewhere in this room. I just have to save up the money for it, but right now is not the right time. So, so I started playing that game again, and one thing that sucks is if you want to play Nier, because right now it's on sale. Like it probably will still be by the time this episode comes out. They're having a Golden Week sale on both PlayStation and Steam. Well, I guess kind of. So like Persona 5 is on both these games, Persona 5 and Nier Automata, are both on sale for like 30 something bucks. Each one of them's 30 something bucks. And those are both 2 fantastic fucking games. Like if you have not played Persona 5 and you have a PlayStation, I don't know what the fuck you're doing with your life. You need to get on it. And the same thing with Nier. They're both fantastic games, and they're both like half off practically. So that's why I picked up Nier again. I already own Persona. There's no other reason to buy it. But I wanted to pick up Nier for PC and try it on the computer. And one thing I can say is the PC port for Nier is not good. And it's interesting because I don't know. It hasn't had an update in 8 months, the PC port. So it makes me wonder if the port was not done by Square Enix, if it was like outsourced work to another company. They just made it where it would work on PC and then just dropped it and then said, fuck it. Because I could definitely see Square Enix doing that. I don't know.
Wait. Are you saying a PC game is not as good as a console game?
I'm saying that technically it's a port. It's a port. So they took the game, the console.
Actually.
They took the console version of the game and ported it to PC, and it was not done well. Yeah. I am saying that. Now, that's obviously not always the case. It depends on the company if they actually give a fuck. Like like for Overwatch plays much better and runs much better on PC. It looks nicer. Having a mouse and keyboard for that game was built for mouse and keyboard. Destiny 2 looks nicer. Well, again, bad example, no one likes Destiny 2, but Destiny 2 runs better, plays better, and does better on PC. That's just usually how it is, especially for any precision game. The way I split my game load is if it's exclusive, I can't really do anything about it, obviously. So like God of War is on PlayStation, so I can only play it on PlayStation. Holy shit, it's raining loud outside. Holy crap. A typhoon just fucking started outside. I apologize if you guys hear that. Holy shit, that's loud.
I don't hear nothing.
So, what was I trying to say? PC ports garbage. Yes,
yeah,
that happens.
Kinda just...
The rain, it derailed my train of thought. But besides that, it's a good thing I have a 1080, because if I probably had a weaker rig, I probably wouldn't be able to run near at 60. But for the most part, it runs fine. There's not really any huge issues. There'll be a stutter here and there, depending on what's going on, but it shouldn't be happening. Like, it's just the game is not tooled properly to utilize a computer. Like, I have a 1080. I should be able to run near at 60 frames. I should be able to run near at 140 frames per second, but I could barely manage 60, where it ran at 60 on PlayStation 4. So, yeah, it's a bad version of the game, and it makes me feel sad because it sold 500,000 units on PC alone, and all those people have to deal with that shit because Square Enix didn't want to make a proper port of the game. It was probably a last-minute decision, in all honesty. I'm happy it exists on the computer, so people that only have a PC still have a way of playing the game, but it's just such a shitty way to experience, like, this game, and one of my favorite games of all time, when you have to deal with issues all the time and stuff like that. But for the most part, I'm still enjoying the game. I'm trying to beat it on very hard, which is basically one-shot mode. You die in one hit from anything. And the biggest challenge to that is the first hour of the game, because for the first hour, there's no saves whatsoever, Tyler. So if I get an hour into the game, I'm on the final fight. This has actually happened to me. It happened on a stream. I get an hour into the fight, and I get hit once by something. I die and have to replay the first hour of the game. Until I get past the initial fight and kill the first boss, I cannot save whatsoever. I save once we get past the first boss fight. So even if you're not careful
I don't know if I can deal with that.
Even if you're not careful on normal, although you can take quite a few hits on normal, if you're not careful, you can get fucking killed on normal difficulty. But one thing you can do is, if you don't want to deal with that bullshit, you can put the game on normal, save, quit out, and reload the game on very hard, and then play the rest of the game with periodic saves, and then having the one-shot mode on. You can do that. But the game's still fantastic. I'm about 2 hours in, and I'm just happy to play the game again. The music, this game is, like, so much better with the music. Like, the music in this game, it won an award for it. It is fucking magnanimous. This music is so good in this game, and I have multiple moments where if I hear the song, it will take me back to that moment where I was doing something or trying to do something, or that area, that world, that map. And the way the music flows with the game, it is like master level work in video game design. It is fucking crazy. Like, if you want to do anything in sound design and understanding how music flows with a game, like, this game should be used as an example of how well you can do music with video games. It's fucking insane. Like, it's not just like a soundtrack, it's a score. Like, they have weaved the music in and out of this game. It's really good. It blows me away, like, every time I play through it. So
I'm sure if Nier was a physical being, you would blow it away. Like,
I would suck its dick. Hey, 2B's real in my dreams, right? Mm. Mm-hmm. She's real in the body pillow I have at her in our bed.
Yeah, with the extra cushiony chest area.
Yeah. But it's a good fucking game, and I'm happy to be playing it again. But right now I'm just waiting. Well, I have God of War, so I've been playing God of War. Let's talk about that again.
Yes, talk about God of War, please, Kyle, because
Now,
I know you love that too.
God of War is a fantastic game. Now, I have 1 to 2 small gripes with God of War, and they're incredibly small. Like, take them with a grain of salt. It's just because
it's a personal level thing.
Yeah, well, I mean, if someone were to look at, again, it's a nitpick technically, but if someone were to look at the game with this in mind, you can see it. It's not like I'm making shit up. It's something that is like noticeable. I'm not just pulling stuff out of my ass to complain. But when I sit down, I explained it last week. When I sit down to play a game, I'm like I find it hard to do things unless the game's grindy. I find it hard to do anything else while playing the game, and I am like 100% focused on the game because I'm looking for the nuances and things like that. It sounds really dumb, but it's just how I play games. That's why I really like games that award that behavior and award that attention to them and understanding how they work. And I'm trying to think what I want to start with. The music's good in this game. Nothing has come across that has struck me as memorable. Like, if I were to think about the music and go back to it, I can't pull 1 to 2 things that would be like, yeah, that song was powerful. I can't really do that. But for the most part, it's good. Like, but I can't think back to the score or the score, whatever. I can't think back to the music and be like, I remember exactly what this was at what this point and stuff like that.
Like
it doesn't happen.
On. Yeah. I think we had a podcast like that in the past where we're talking about certain things like what makes a game, and I remember I want to say we all agreed that, like, you know, the music especially has a huge part in the drive of gaming, like, kind of.
That was a long time ago. That might have been like episode 17, something like that. I don't know.
I remember fairly well. I think someone did some, like, at least literally a footprint, like a. Like, you remember that specific part of the game, like, you know, because it kicked it with you because the music, you know, kind of like turned something on in your brain, and, you know, it was something awesome.
Well, yeah.
For the most part.
Music is very emotional. Like, it, you can pull you can incite so many emotions out of a person by the music that you play during that moment in a game, and that's might be one of the reasons why Nier is so special to me, because of the way they do it. But again, the music in God of War is good. It fits. It works. It's just no single track has like resonated with me while I've been playing. Like something that I'm like, wow, this is fucking fantastic. I haven't had that happen yet, but I've had a couple moments where I'm like, wow, this music's really good. I'm enjoying it. It fits. It works, and that's about it with that. The one thing that is fantastic, that I'd give 10 out of 10 would be the world design. Seeing these different worlds and the different realms of Norse mythology and stuff like that, and being able to... Is this a spoiler? Whatever. You see the different realms. I'm not going to spoil anything. Don't worry about it. You get to see different realms and just kind of seeing the world and the design. I think they do an incredible job with scale. If you're attuned to Norse mythology at all, you know that giants existed. And the giants and some of them that you might come across, they look good. Like the way they capture the scale in this game makes it feel immense, makes it feel like you're a god and you're dealing with gods, and it's really cool.
That actually does sound really interesting. I mean, I don't know too much about the God of War like franchise. I mean, I've heard that they're really popular games, and like I've seen gameplay of multiple games in the past, but I actually, you know what, I might actually get this. I like the
one thing that's
because
good, one thing that's good about this is you don't have to be a fan to play the game. Like, you don't have to understand everything. When they say a soft reboot, it is definitely a soft reboot. The story is technically, it hits a breaking point. And, I mean, if you understand Kratos' history, it makes the game more powerful, but you cannot and still enjoy this game immensely because it's kind of like a new arc in Kratos' story. It's not like you're in the middle of a story. This is a new road that Kratos is traveling.
See, that's
again
what
with
I was
his
gonna
son.
get to with like because the previous installments were about him getting revenge, correct? Off of and it was a different,
Yes.
wasn't it like the
It
Greek gods?
it was Greek. Yeah, they were Greek
Yeah,
gods, and
so
he
now
was
this
getting
being the
revenge.
Norse, I definitely like the different, because now
Yeah, Thor
nowadays,
and
because
Odin and stuff like that.
yeah, but like what I've really liked about that is, and I remember I think you sent in the text too, like this gives like something about like the rebirth of AAA games, like this makes you want to buy AAA games back again. Um, it definitely gives a sense of something new. I mean, even though it's kind of building off the same foundation, where like, hey, he's fighting more gods, but it's like let's kind of, well, you kind of, I'm assuming out of what 3 previous installments, correct? This is technically the 4th, right?
Yeah.
Like, there were no like I don't know, there was like some like off game or whatever like that.
Well, yeah, they had like side projects
like
for
a
God of War.
handheld or
Like
something like that, or
they had the Chains of Olympus, which was on PSP and stuff like that. So there's been more God of War games, but this is
I
the
don't know how many other
4th.
installments, but
Yeah, this is the 4th main installment. Yeah.
gotcha. Yeah, so like I figured if they kind of if you're beating a dead horse, or maybe okay. So have you played the previous installments?
The only other God of War game I've played is 3, and I played a little bit of 2 actually, but I played 3.
So is 3 like Halo 3, where it's like supposedly the end or whatever, and then this being 4, it's just like how Halo 4 is. So now it's kind of something slightly new, but the story is still kind of carrying on from.
Yeah, I would
the
say that.
previous games.
I would
like
say
it still
that.
holds a lot of the storyboard, but now it's like because remember he has like a son now, right? That wasn't in the previous game. So like, is this like a partner? Like you're not playing by yourself, you're playing with an AI that is with you as well.
Yes,
kind of like that.
You could draw a lot of parallels to The Last of Us. Well, not a lot, but a few, because of the way that plays out. You do have an AI companion that is younger. You do use them to solve puzzles, and they also assist in combat. The cool thing is they also level along, or Arturius, I think is his name. He levels alongside Kratos. Not levels. There's not really a level system. Everything's based off of like a gear score, which gives you more points in certain aspects, and everything goes off of gear. So like you can get a chest plate that gives you extra strength, and it will make you do more damage. But everything goes off of gear. It's not like you level up and then you can put points into shit. Everything's based on your gear, and then you can upgrade your weapons and your gear, and then you get more skills through that system instead of just you've killed your 5th enemy, now you're level 2 kind of thing. But yeah,
gotcha.
Arturius, as you level up his bow, he'll get more skills, and he becomes more useful in combat, which also kind of aligns to his character arc, because he's trying to become a warrior, and Kratos is teaching him how to become strong and be strong and kind of do things like that. So what was I going to say? So yeah, music was okay. The world design is fantastic. I like the new look of Kratos. I like the look of some of the gods that I have seen. Not going to spoil any of them. It definitely feels like God of War. Like when there are certain fights that you feel like you're playing God of War. You feel like you are a god, and you feel like you're doing God of War things. So that's good. That soul has remained in this title, even though the way of control is different. I think another cool thing about it is the combat is very good. Like it feels good. Like his axe,
it looks very fluid.
Oh yeah, the way you move around. There's animation canceling, which is really nice. That's one of my bitches when it comes to like. This is kind of like a beat 'em up game. If you can't animation cancel, like if you go to do something and you're stuck in it, it makes you feel so weighty, and I hate that feeling in a game where you need to basically evade and dodge. So I hate the fact if that is something, it's not the case in God of War, but when that exists in games and you have to commit to an animation, there's no way to cancel it. That shit annoys me. And you could say like, oh, just get good, don't use that animation. But usually if it persists in one case, it persists in most cases in that game at the very least, at least from my experience. So I like you feel light even though you're bulky kind of. And it's good. It controls very well. I have no issues with the control. I'm thinking There's a lot of tools at your disposal, which is nice. It kind of has a kind of a Legend of Zelda thing where you'll find a tool and it will assist you in navigating the world. Yeah, pretty much. I felt a couple like Zelda vibes as we got new tools and used them to move around. But that's just a good game design decision. It has nothing really to do with Legend of Zelda. I like the skills. I like the level up system. I like the story's okay. It hasn't really pulled me in 100% yet, but the writing is really good. And I know that sounds weird. It might be because I'm not like a 100% dedicated fan to the franchise, so I don't really have a reason to care about what's going on. Although I am engaged. It's just not 100% like edge of my seat kind of stuff. But then again, I'm only 15 hours in. There's no telling what happens next. But I like the writing a lot. Like a lot of the moments along the journey that you come across are good. There's a lot of really good supporting characters, including the two blacksmiths that you meet. They are both really cool, well-written characters. It's funny how they bounce off of each other, even though they're not even near each other. And the way that Kratos interacts with the world around him, they kind of built this thing where Kratos is always serious, but the people that have been placed in his path are kind of goofy, and the way that they interact with each other is always interesting to see. And I enjoy seeing the outcomes of that, like what's going to happen next, how is Kratos going to react to this. One slight thing that annoyed me is in the first 10 hours, every time Atreus, or whatever his name is, I don't remember, I was just playing it, every time he'd bring up something, Kratos, I know he's cold to him or whatever, like he's a horrible father, that kind of cliche with these stories where the boy doesn't really know the dad and the dad has to be with the boy to kind of teach him what to do now that everything's gone to shit. So they just have to kind of learn to be together. And that kind of budding relationship that you see in movies all the time and stuff like that. It's just interesting seeing it with Kratos, who we've seen murder so many people relentlessly and now is in a later time in his life, and he's kind of completed his initial goal and has tried to settle down and just kind of live out the rest of his life. Saying a lot, not meaning to. But the way they interacted in the first 10 hours to me became kind of grating, because you'd have Atreus bring up something, hey, look at that, what's that? And Kratos is like, focus on the mission, boy, or you don't need to do that, boy, or something like that. And it would happen incessantly. Every time you go through a cave, Atreus would put out 15 things and Kratos would respond like he only had 5 things to choose from a pool to say. And again, I know they're cold towards each other, whatever, they're warming up, but you don't need to beat it into my head. That's the only thing. And again, it's an incredibly small gripe. It really doesn't affect my enjoyment of the game that much, because I still love it. I'm still playing it, and I still think it's damn near perfect. But that relationship earlier on, before it starts to actually bloom, I felt was beaten in too hard in the writing, and that just it annoyed me to no end. I know I'm flipping back and forth. It sounds like it doesn't bother me, but I'm saying it annoyed me to no end. I don't know really what I'm trying to say here.
I mean, it definitely sounds like you still enjoy it, though.
Oh,
I mean,
no, that's what matters. I adore this game. It is really good, spent. And I feel this game was worth a perfect score more than I felt Breath of the Wild was last year. I had a fucking laundry list of issues with Breath of the Wild, but God of War, I have to try to give you a reason why I don't think it's perfect. Although I don't think any game is perfect, but it's a rating system. It's just how it is. There's going to be a perfect score. But I believe that the 10s that it received are damn well worth it. And I think if you have a PlayStation, you need to play this game. This game is well worth the buy. And everything about it is good. It's fun. It feels nice. It feels light. The writing's good. It keeps you entertained. And so far, the combat has not dulled on me yet. They do a lot with game design of keeping you on your toes, per se. from the enemy variation to the arenas that you're put in, there's always something new that they're introducing to make it where you are given your tools and you have to use your kind of think out what you want to do next. Like, I'm in this area where I'm getting swarmed with enemies, but there's also a timer I'm managing and all this other stuff, making sure the Artrius isn't getting attacked and doing all this other shit. And you're really challenged there, which is nice. Another thing, and this is just a gripe with video games in general, I hate how we do difficulty in this game. It annoys, or in games in general, it annoys the shit out of me where a lot of the time the difficulty meter will just be like, if the game's harder, it just makes you weaker and the enemy tougher. There's no actual challenge introduced into the game. It's just now every fight you're fighting a raid boss and you're a fucking wet paper napkin and you just have to deal with it. And that's exactly how this game does it too. Good thing is they let you change difficulty. You don't really have to worry about it. But on the harder difficulties, it's just Kratos is no longer a god of war. He's a bitch that works overnight at McDonald's and can't take a hit for shit. And you die in almost one hit to everything. And you're fighting like literally reanimated corpses for the first 10 minutes. And these things are beating the fuck out of you like you're old man Kratos with your cane and your pimp hat trying to get through. And you just can't do shit about it. You have to just take it. And so a lot of the time the encounters for me just ended up me throwing my axe at enemies for 15 minutes trying to whittle them down to 0 health because I didn't understand their attack patterns yet. So I don't know like what telegraphs what and shit like that. And for the most part, most of the attacks in the game are well telegraphed and you do have the time to react. It's just that initial time spent before you start getting more skills to assist you in combat is brutal on the harder difficulties because you're literally bare bones. You're just light and heavy attacks and you just gotta hope to God you don't nothing sneezes on you and you blow up into a million pieces. So that annoyed me. But that's just games in general. Games do that shit all the time and I hate it. I'd rather it be like if you make the game harder, the enemy AI interacts differently. Maybe they are more prone to rushing you or grouping up on you, or more prone to flanking you while you're busy with someone that you're locked onto, or something that just makes the game smarter instead of just harder. And they introduce the challenge that way. I would appreciate that instead of it just being like, well, now again you're fighting a raid boss that's going to take 150 hits before he finally falls over and he's literally decaying flesh. What do you want us to do? And that kind of annoys me, and that's just games in general. That's not a gripe with God of War. It's just something I think would be cool if it didn't exist in that way. Which is why I like another reason I like the Dark Souls games is because the game is designed to have one difficulty and you just deal with it. I think that's a cool idea, and I like the fact that the game was built around this one mode. And there's no way to make it easier or harder. Oh, I guess you can if you don't like want to use weapons or shit like that. But the game was
gay, be a fucking wizard and fucking fight everything long range like a fucking. Sorry.
So the game is built around this one difficulty. I think that would have been cool. Now the normal difficulty of God of War is challenging. There's some fights that are hard because they introduce mechanics that you have to keep in mind while you're playing. It's not just hit this
Smash
thing more.
Repeat.
Yeah. So that's nice. And the combat flows very well. One really cool decision I thought they made that was nice is it's an artistic choice, but the whole game, from the start of the game, from the main title screen, it shows Kratos with his axe on a tree, right? And he's cutting down the tree. From that start of the game to the final scene of the game, there is not a single cut whatsoever. It is all one single flowing shot. So it looks like it feels like you're actually playing. You're actually like there, right behind them in first person. So it's super cool, and I think that's such a cool decision. That must be hard to do because, well, there are loading screens. Like if you're to do something, sometimes it will load, but for the most part, it is one shot. There's no jump cuts, no nothing whatsoever, and it is following you guys like almost like sometimes shaky cam behind everybody while the combat's or everything's going on. And I think that's a super cool choice for the way the game flows. It's really awesome. So yeah, I enduring the fuck out of this game. If you're not playing it right now and you have a PS4, what's wrong with you? Get on it, including you, Tyler.
You're
you need
right,
to get on
Kyle. I think you might have sold me. So
I'm telling you, man, it is.
I will
You
get
will
that too.
adore this game, especially since I know you like ancient mythology. This game,
Yeah, that kind of stuff is awesome.
you're all over. You'll be all over this
Especially
game.
Norse. That's like my fucking right on the
I'm
money
telling
there.
you, man. You're gonna come back to me next week with like a big ass beard, fired from your job, no girlfriends.
Yeah.
Like, dude, what'd you do, man? I played it for 30 minutes and I've beaten the game 60 times already. I know you're gonna love it. It's good. I know Jonathan
Yeah.
picked it up too, and he's been adoring it. But this game, unless Spider-Man, I can't see Spider-Man beating this game. This game's gonna get fucking Game of the Year, like dead ass. I see it right now. Unless we see something come out of the blue and just absolutely annihilate every preconceived notion we have of video gaming as a whole, this game will receive Game of the Year. It is Game of the Year in my book right now.
That's a big notion there. I mean,
No,
what
it is.
else is coming out this year?
Spider-Man and Red Dead 2.
Okay.
This game's Game of the Year.
Well, I could see those being top just because of them both having passed and people waiting for those sequels. But yeah, if you come down and think about does it introduce anything new, blah blah blah, how's the gameplay? But you never know how fucking 'cause it's an award show. It's gonna be the game that people probably look forward to most. I mean, what do people out of those games? I mean, if those are like the three top AAA games of the year.
This game's going to be Game of the Year.
Copies direct.
One thing that's interesting too is from I saw interviews they had before is that they spent a lot of time making the axe in this game like feel good, and I think all that time they dedicated to it paid off tremendously. The Leviathan axe, it feels so like you can throw it. Like, dude, I'll tell you, we'll be like moving somewhere or doing something, they'll be talking and I'll be waiting and just kind of hanging out. And all I'll do is I'll throw the axe just for fucking fun. I'll just be standing there, look up, and just do a heavy throw and toss it like into another zip code, and then hit triangle and just recall it back into my hand. And the recall feels so cool. Like I was messing around with it, and
that's cool. So it's like a Mjolnir kind of thing.
Yeah, it will stick into rocks. So I was just messing around, and I threw it into a rock, and it was pinned in the rock. And I went to go recall it, and Kratos like lifts up his hand. And I literally, it was cool because the axe will it's really quick, but the axe will shake for just a second, fly out of the rock and go right into your hand. And the way, if you get good enough at it, the way you can transition that into fighting and combat, and say if you got two enemies, the axe will freeze too if the enemy's weak enough. So you look to the right, toss your axe at the dude, freeze him in place, and then go run up and start punching the fuck out of his friend and kill him, and then
sounds so beautiful.
Start punching him and then recall the axe out of his friend and then transition into smacking him with the axe and shit. It feels so good, dude. Like the combat in this game is buttery.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love smooth. So it's kind of like Arkham style fighting, or like Shadow of Mordor,
No.
kind of like Assassin's Creed.
I wouldn't even say that, because that is really heavily focused around countering, and there is parrying in this, but I'd say it'd be closer to kind of like Dark Souls, where it's
dodge and
it's
strike.
slower, and you're kind of dodging around to make sure the enemy doesn't hit you. You could also block with your shield, and there'll be indicators, so you could block on time, and you'll do a slow motion parry to knock them back, and then you can continue into fighting. But it's much more, it's much slower. I wouldn't say it's Batman where you're zipping around building up a huge combo. It's more of a methodic thinking out kind of fighting that you'd see in Dark Souls, but not as difficult. But definitely a lot of the time they spent, and the combat is the combat and world design are my favorite things from this game, because they feel so good. And how you're saying earlier, I said in the text, it reignited, because I've heard this thrown around, it reignited my passion for gaming and stuff like that. And I mean, I could see that if you just play AAA games, and that's why I changed the statement to reignited my love for AAA, because AAA has been shit the last few years. With the Call of Duties, and you have Andromeda dropping a huge deuce and all this other shit going on. People have grown to not like
Battle Royale
AAA
mode now, baby.
And
That's
I could understand, but gaming as a whole, I mean, I can't say that even over all this time, there's been something that I've found that has kept that passion alive. Whether it be an indie game like Celeste recently, which was a fucking perfect game in its own right. Just a fantastic platforming puzzle game. And I can't say that my passion has ever fallen for gaming as a whole, but I could say AAA gaming definitely. With everything else that's gone on with the shit that we've been fed to us, seeing this breath of fresh air come in God of War with his just a complete package. You get everything right off the bat, no microtransactions, no DLC. It works for the most part right out the gate. It's actually been tested. There's no problems with it, blah, 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 blah. It makes you feel good about buying it, and it makes you feel good about AAA. And I could 100% agree with that statement. But for gaming as a whole, I can't really say that. But then again, I've had a different experience. If all you do is buy Call of Duty every year, then I could definitely see this reigniting your passion for gaming.
Yeah.
We all kind of follow a different story.
I definitely don't want to. I mean, I don't want to bash any creators when it comes to them making like their stuff, and because people put countless hours into making these games. But I mean, I agree with you, and I've talked down on Call of Duty a lot, and I'll use that as a fucking sewage like trash can or something like that, or like something to wipe my ass with, like but what really has come out, like rather than all these games that have been kind of just thrown out there the past few years, it's your typical first person shooters, and there's nothing that has enhanced the gaming experience. It's all the same, just the next year edition generally is what it is, and I'm kind of on the bandwagon with the battle royale mode. Actually, no, I can't say that, because then to say that I need to have played multiple types.
Yeah, you've only played Fortnite.
I've only played Fortnite,
and it's free. You haven't put any money into battle royale, so I mean,
I spent PUBG. Some money on skins and stuff like that.
Fuck,
so I mean,
Tyler. They've got you.
Well, once after I won my first solo dub, I was like, okay, I deserve a skin. But so yeah, I'm trying not to put any more money in it. I've got what I've wanted, and I'm happy. I'm living with that now. I just couldn't be called a no skin anymore. So, anyways, but yeah, in order for me to really. I can't hop on the bandwagon because I have to play more than just one. Well, I guess two even, because I played a little bit of PUBG and I didn't really like it. I haven't played I have the mobile version as well too, as well as the mobile version for Fortnite too. But it's definitely, I think, what's in right now, and it's if I want to go play a shooter like a your casual looking just whatever shooter's out right now, that's probably what I'll be playing. Fortnite's technically third person if you want to.
And there's not even any. No. It's not even. It's like a fucking like cone in front of you too. You don't even have any iron sights or anything.
Yeah, it's really weird, but
you goofed.
Yep.
Shooter in general.
Goofed. Yeah, in general.
Where were you going?
I will say that. Well, I was coming back. I wasn't going too far off into the deep end.
Pulling a segue like Shawn. Talks about sexuality and anime for 45 minutes.
And the titties and the fucking furries and the butt plugs. Now you have to have a little bit of Shawn-esque conversation here.
That's what makes the podcast interesting, because you never know what's going to happen.
It is. And
give us 30 minutes. We could be talking about why giraffes use their heads to beat the shit out of each other. You never know.
And that is awesome to watch too. So I mean, go watch this after this.
That's real life anime right there,
podcast. Dude. So, anyways, okay. So what I was getting at is I was just using Fortnite as an example, and then I just kind of caught myself in my own thing because I haven't played enough of the battle royale mode. But I'm saying in terms of what people like nowadays, and generally shooters are, because it's competitive, and a lot of people like that, and it's very simplistic. So it's kind of, I think it's I like it actually. I mean, I say fuck Call of Duty. I would actually enjoy more Battle Royale games than over like a fucking next Call of Duty game, because Call of Duty has just been terrible.
Well, you might want to watch your tone there, because the next Call of Duty does have Battle Royale.
I also heard Battlefield is potentially doing that too.
Well, real quick, to bring in news.
Real quick,
what do you think about this? So there have been reports from multiple sources
that let me finish my thing real quick.
Oh yeah, you might forget.
Because we can. Well, no, because I think we're gonna get into that news segment for a little bit. So I was just coming back to, and you fucking cut me off guard. But yeah, like what other games really are there that that really strive to tell a thrilling story and that have all these elements that make a game really interesting. It's something it's something new. It's a fresh idea that people like to play. It's something different for once, or something that's just kind of not always the same copy paste.
Yeah.
So that's I definitely look forward to that stuff. And then I was going to use
to answer your question on a mainstream. I would probably say a lot of people would, if you were to ask like 100 people or something, they'd probably go to like a Naughty Dog title, like Uncharted 4. Although a lot of people aren't huge fans of Uncharted's combat, it still tells a good story and has good characters and is overall a quality product. If you were to ask me, I'd probably, everyone knows what I'd say. I'd say Nier. Although I don't see that game as a perfect game. I think it has its own issues. But
games do.
It was one of those things that's like
human-made thing.
Like I played the game and I didn't ever expect anything, or I didn't ever have an expectation come to fruition. Like kind of like, oh, this might happen, and it did. It always managed to surprise me, and I think it told an engaging story with good characters that was well written and create an interesting world, and stuff like that I think is what really appeals to me. And I like God of War. I think it does the same. And it's good, man. It's a good game. It's a good fucking game.
Like, pause and
like a single tear rolls down. It's a good game, man. And I think if you have a fucking footstool 1X out there and all you have is an Xbox, man, you're missing out. I'm sorry. Like, damn. You guys haven't had any exclusives that are like genuinely good this generation.
It's always like the Call of Duty gets shot out, fucking Xbox gets shot out.
I'm sorry, man. Like it's been rough for you guys, and we apologize, but like you really need to play this game one way or another. Go to your friend's house, borrow their PS4 because they're cooler than you.
That's why I got both.
Yeah, but Tyler, I think you would adore this game. Like 100%.
I'm telling you, I'm probably gonna get it now.
It's fucking fantastic.
It won't be for a while, but I'll probably get it.
It should be the next on your list.
Yeah. Well, actually, the next on my list, and that's the thing with me in video games is my taste is, I think, very weird. And I kind of go for games that are that are popular, but they're not like, I mean, what all people talk about, like blah blah blah, and it's actually
coming from the man that plays Fortnite. Come on now.
Well, I'm saying that's going out of. I mean, that was a free game, like you said yourself too, and I just hopped on that. But no, I'm saying stuff because I played stuff like like I like the Alien franchise for the movies, and I would always try to play those games, and not many people really talk or even hear about those games. When they do, it's usually ass. Like I actually. Well, I'm not gonna say I like Colonial Marines, but Isolation was pretty good. But I was gonna get to they have the new Darksiders coming out, and I don't ever hear people really talk about Darksiders. And after what was the company that produced it? They just like went under, and then someone else like revived them. Yeah, I think it's like Fireground. I think is the new they picked up the mantle. And like you're typing that keyboard away.
Looking for the devs of Darksiders. Developed by what the fuck? Oh, Vigil Games. Publishers are THQ.
Yeah.
THQ Nordic.
But I think Vigil was the creators.
That's the developer. Yeah.
It's like I think the new one now is like Fire something, like Fireground or.
Yeah, they went under.
Yeah. I don't know, like I like games like that aren't really talked about so much. Like, I mean, I guess you can. I mean, it's kind of similar because I would say when Nier came out, was that like a huge talked about game? I feel like it wasn't. Like you just kind of picked out.
Well, it depends on who you ask because Nier sold well, and it was like talked about. And one thing that's interesting is a lot of people I've talked to about the game we all kind of share the same opinion with how the game was and the story and about it. Although a lot of people have come to look back on and kind of refute some of the points made by some of the people prior. I don't want to get into it. It's a big ass thing, but I heard about it often when it initially came out. Now, if I were to go talk to someone that played games just as a hobby or something like that, they would not know what Nier is. And I didn't know what Nier was before Automata came out, because it's a whole series of games that started with Drakengard, and I hadn't played any of those games prior. And original Nier I had seen stuff of, but I never got into it because I didn't have a PlayStation. But when I saw the stuff for this game and they showed off that one boss fight with the music, that immediately hooked me. Like, I was in for the long haul the moment I saw that first promotional video at E3. I don't know what E3 it was shown at, but like the moment I saw that, I'm like, this game is going to be something special, at least to me. And it was, and it paid off a lot on that. But yeah, like I listened to a podcast that I talk to the community, the It's Obvious Gaming podcast. I hang out with them a lot, and the hosts I've talked to personally, and I was asking them to play the game, and they didn't get a chance to play it till months and months after, because at the time it had come out, there was Zelda going on. So I think a lot of it wasn't just, it wasn't that it wasn't talked about. I think it might have just been stomped down by other stuff that was going on at the time. And that was probably the bigger reason why it wasn't heard of often, because I heard talk about it, and within its circle, I heard a lot of talk about it, but there was a lot of other stuff going on with Breath of the Wild, and there was something else that was talked about a lot last year, and I forget. But it just kind of, Horizon and stuff like that, which were the more, I hate using the word, but the more mainstream games. They were stuff that people were excited for, whereas if you didn't really play the more niche titles on the PlayStation, you had no idea what Nier was. A lot of people don't. Those people, when I asked the host to play it, they didn't know the previous games. I didn't know the previous games. So it makes sense, but I still think, like, when I saw that Platinum was developing it, and I had played both Bayonetta games, or the Bayonetta games. Yeah, there's two, right? I'd played both Bayonetta games, and I had loved those, and I even played Metal Gear Rising Revengeance, which was also a Platinum game. I love Platinum. I love how they make their beat-em-ups, and I love the feeling of their games because they have a depth to them, and they just feel so good and smooth and buttery and blah, blah, blah. So that was also another thing that had me on board. But yeah, I would agree with you. It wasn't talked about a lot. I wouldn't say it was, but again, there was a lot of stuff going on that led to that. It wasn't just the fact that no one really knew about it. Well, no one really did. That answered your question. Just ranting for no reason. But yeah.
Yeah. And then
that game is the only game, again, I'm ranting. That game is the only game that has made me cry. Now, not from sadness, but from like straight impact of something happening. Like, it wasn't something sad that was going on, but it was the way something wrapped up. Like, that feeling made me cry. Like, I've never had that happen in a video game before. It was really weird. But the way that everything ended up, and I'm talking for you, those of you who played it, the fifth ending with the assistants is what I'm going to call it, and the way that game wraps up finally in the true ending made me tear up with the way that it was done and how smart it felt. Like, the way it was designed and the way it kind of wrapped itself together, it made me cry. I'm not going to lie about it. I'm not going to act tough or whatever. I cried. And like, you could ask Caitlyn, because I called her in. She had no idea what the fuck was going on, but it impacted me heavily, and it's not something I'll ever forget. And I have yet to have a game do that to me again, which is why I talk so highly of the game, because I think it was written very well, and it was in that level, and the way that the world is unveiled, and I've talked about this a million times, the way the world is unveiled and the writing of the story is master level workmanship, and it's something that will not leave me for a long time. Now, someone else can play the game and not have that experience whatsoever. It really depends on how like in tune or kind of enveloped you get in the game and the time you spend. And a thing that can happen with a lot of games is if you have to rush for whatever reason, say there's another game coming out and you want to just hurry up and beat it, you can miss a lot of things that will lead to a moment not hitting anywhere near as hard. Like I took my time with Nier because I had finished Horizon ahead of time so I could just play it. And I got to that point where I was at the level of investment that I was, where that scene had done something special, in my opinion, enough to a point where it elicited that reaction. But like, it all depends on what you're doing at that time. I think games can affect people in incredibly different ways, depending on.
They can incent violence, like Grand Theft Auto, and people go out and shooting trees. And no, I'm kidding.
Yeah, but it's so, and that's one of the reasons I like games so much, and I like talking about games. Is because of hearing people's reactions to these things that are intended to elicit a certain emotion, and seeing how people react differently to those things is interesting. Like those hosts that I was talking to, Jacob and Preston from the It's Obvious podcast, they didn't have the same like feeling that I had in that moment when they hit. I don't even know if Jacob's finished the game entirely, but I know Preston has. He didn't have that same exact feeling. But then again, he loved Breath of the Wild, and I thought it was a waste of an opportunity. So it really depends on just where you are in that time and how a game clicks with you. It's very interesting to hear other people's opinions in that matter. And that's why I love talking about games. That's why I love Discord, because you get to sit and talk with hundreds of people and discuss with them things that they felt about something. Which another reason I love Shawn so much too is because he always goes for that super analytical approach to things, and he always brings up something that I usually don't think about, or something that isn't made apparent to me right off the bat. So definitely interesting. I don't even remember what the initial question was.
We're just gonna move on.
Yeah.
To that thing I cut you off from.
The news. It's not actually a news segment, just two interesting things. So multiple sources have confirmed that Call of Duty will not have a campaign or a battle royale, or it won't have a campaign. And they're saying it might have. I'm 100% sure it'll have traditional multiplayer, but there'll be a battle royale mode on top of it that might maybe mix with zombies. There's no confirmations, but the things that have been confirmed is that there will confirmed, take this term lightly, because by that I mean that multiple news outlets have reported on the fact that there won't be a single player campaign. And I've always seen Call of Duty as kind of a mixed package, that you get the campaign, sometimes they're good, sometimes they're bad, but you know there'll always be one there. And then when you're done with that experience, you move on to the multiplayer, and then you spend the bulk of your time there. But I always enjoyed the campaigns from Call of Duty, so I don't know why they would take the time to remove it entirely from the game. That interests
the past few campaigns.
Well, I've heard that.
I played them.
I've heard that. I thought Call of Duty 3 was awful, or Black Ops 3 was awful, but I've heard that Infinity War was a really good campaign. It's just not a lot of people played it.
Yeah, when Infinity War was in charge of it all, I mean, those are really good. I remember it kind of started going on a slight decline, like after Black Ops 2 / Modern Warfare 3-ish. You know, it's still kind of
Infinite Warfare.
It got old.
What is it called?
Infinity War.
No. That's not what I was saying. No, I mean the
Warfare.
The Call of Duty that everyone hated online, because it was in the future still when Battlefield 1 was coming out. What Call of Duty is that called? 3? No. The one after that. It was done by Sledgehammer.
Oh, was it Advanced Warfare?
Wasn't it Advanced Warfare with the exosuits?
Well, 3 was 2.
Wait. Back to Google.
There was one. I want to say it was Advanced Warfare. That's when they started kind of doing that, I thought. Actually, I don't think I even played that one.
World War II, Infinite Warfare. Didn't I say that?
Infinite Warfare.
I might have said Infinity War. Infinite Warfare is the one that I'm talking about.
Infinity Ward. So like the company that made the earlier ones. Those were the ones.
I've heard that Infinite Warfare's campaign was really good from a few people.
Really? Anyways,
I didn't even.
I've heard it on the now that I heard the other side of the spectrum where a lot of people will get the game, they won't even play the campaign. they will go straight to the multiplayer and never touch the campaigns. They didn't even know, like what the hell happens. So, because it's all like a continuous story or whatever. And it's like people don't care. Like that's the thing with a lot of campaigns now. Some people don't even care for the story. They go straight from the multiplayer. And like for me, my rule is whenever I get a new game, and if it's a dual package with a campaign and multiplayer, I play campaign first, and then I'll play the multiplayer. I'll delve into it because I'm kind of familiar with at least like the gameplay mechanics. Especially if it's like a shooter like Call of Duty. You'll how the guns work. You'll have a preference. Even though it'll be slightly variations with like you can if it's a customizable classes and blah blah blah. But I don't know. I think it's silly to just go into it and not get the full experience of a game. But then again, hey, it's your money, it's your $60, $60+ because you'll probably end up buying the fucking
all the
fucking
DLCs,
expansions and and so hey, you do what you want with your money. I'm not gonna tell you what
each
to
their
do.
own.
That's really not to get the full experience out of it. Even though it's not really a good experience.
So yeah, that's interesting. I wonder how that will go with people. But the thing is, like, look at Infinite Warfare. People bitched that game to oblivion, and it still sold tremendously well. So the people that are complaining obviously don't give enough of a fuck to not buy the game, to show the publisher, show Activision, like, hey, we don't want this shit. Stop doing it. Because the games still sell tremendously well. But also you got to keep in mind that there's a certain percentage of people that stay out of the loop and just buy video games every once in a while. And then the one that they tend to gravitate to is Call of Duty. So they're not following any news about Call of Duty. It's just every year they'll go and pick up the new one and play it. They don't know anything about it. They just pick it up and play it because they spend... It's just something that they see as a activity that they do to kind of wind down each night after work or whatever. It's not like something they're actively following. So it's interesting, and I still think Black Ops 4 will sell incredibly well because it's Call of Duty.
It will.
It's what it does. They could fucking send you a banana wrapped in cellophane, and it will sell incredibly well. It's just how it is. You slap the words Call of Duty on it, people will tray and shove it into their disc tray. It's just how it is.
You rhymed too when you did that. Points to you.
Did I rhyme? I was in so much anger. When I get mad, I turn into Dr. Seuss. And the other one... The one that's interesting is I've been recently playing with the El Dorito 0.6 Halo Online thing that they just dropped on the 20th of April, which is basically they took the base. It's a group of Russians that took the base code for Halo 3, updated some of the models, put some of the newer weapons in it, and released it for free online on PC. So technically, Halo 3 right now is free to play online on PC.
And it's a more updated, modernized version, but it still has like the same.
It's still the exact same thing. There's no sprinting. All the maps, all the base maps are available, and everything's server based. So
and let me guess, they're having a grand old time playing.
Everyone's loving it, but an interesting to kind of give an update. Microsoft recently, as they do, they released a CND, cease and desist, to them, telling them, "Hey, you can't do that. This is technically ours." But in an interesting turn of events, Microsoft has allowed them to keep the game live, but they aren't allowed to update it. They can't update the game anymore, but it may stay up. And I think what Microsoft here is doing is they're gauging the PC player base for Halo. Because I know that with this recent Play Anywhere thing that they've introduced, like with Sea of Thieves, rest in peace, that people can play on both PC and Xbox and crossplay. So they might be kind of determining as we get closer to Halo 6, do we want to have a PC version of Halo 6? Would it be worth the effort into building a build of the game on PC that we can sell to people, and would there be enough backing to make a decent amount of money on it? So, because when I played, which is a couple days after release, they had maybe 5,000 people playing online at one point, and this was later in the day, probably 9 o'clock Eastern, United States Eastern time. So I think they're kind of testing the waters. Microsoft wants to see how much traction can this get, and would it be worth? Sorry, I burped right into the mic. Would it be worth us selling a PC version of Halo? Is there enough of a community? Because if you go back, original Halo, Combat Evolved, and Halo 2 both had PC ports, and we haven't seen a Halo on PC since. But I tested it, I played it. It is a fuckload of fun, Tyler. Being back in Halo 3 is so cool. And the cool thing is they also have like it's all server based, so they'll have like a big team social server, or a bunch of them actually, and then you just kind of hop all into one with your friends and everyone kind of plays. So we played a bunch of games. We played Team SWAT, 1 CTF, 2 Flag, Capture the Flag, Oddball, on all the old original base maps of Halo 3. Yeah, that was also there too, which was cool. I played a Forge map. It's cool because they also revamped Forge. So they gave it all the tools that like exist closer to Halo 5's level. So you could do a lot more than you had to do prior. But they also had like mini game servers, dude. Like they had a server which is basically a rotation of all the super popular mini games from Halo 3. Jenga, Fat Kid, Ghost or something in Robbers, I forget what it's called. There's push to talk in the game. It's literally Halo 3, but you play it on the PC, and it runs well. It works well with mouse and keyboard. It feels good, and I'm like, it's just reliving the glory days and being able to play some Halo 3. We were talking about actually doing it tonight. Everyone in our Discord trying to find a server we could all sit in for an hour or two. But the first day I played it, dude, I lost track of time. I probably played Halo 3 by myself for like 4 or 5 hours just playing the game because I was so excited to be back. And I was enjoying the hell out of it. It kind of sucks of what happened, but if Microsoft takes this time and they kind of they might even like form a partnership with these group of guys and maybe have them work on a proper release for either a new Halo or a older version of Halo. Maybe like a Master Chief Collection comes out to PC. Although I've heard Master Chief Collection's matchmaking is fucking doo-doo. Maybe they fix it up and release it on PC. I would buy that in an instant. I would love that. So here's to hopefully that happening. I would love to be able to play Halo again because I don't have a footstool, which is an Xbox. So that was it. Just a couple things I'd heard about over the week.
We kind of drifted off the main thing. You talk about the Battle Royale mode thing, and like what were our thoughts on all that? Because like I also said I think Battlefield was planning on doing it too, but
the biggest thing was just Call of Duty's multiplayer not being there. I don't give a fuck about Battle Royale, and I don't know how long it's gonna last. But I think a COD Battle Royale might be good, because I think Call of Duty's got some decent gunplay in it, like for the first person shooting and all that. So that'd be cool if you do it Battle Royale. It's just a big map. Thing is they'd have to figure out a way, either make it like not a gigantic map but smaller, kind of like what Fortnite did to PUBG, maybe but one step lower. And I don't know if, because they won't have vehicles, probably not. But I could see that working. You pick up a gun, it's this. It'd be like, it kind of reminds me of like Gun Game, where everyone was just kind of sprinting around a map going ham, trying to kill each other. Yep. It would remind me of that.
I could see a modified version of that even. And then something similar to that. I could see
it happening in Battlefield 2.
Well, there you got the map, you got the vehicles. It'll be like a PUBG 2, pretty much. I mean,
and if this new Battlefield coming out looks anything like Battlefield 1, it will be fucking gorgeous. But the thing is
is it supposed to be? Are they going to World War II? I heard a source saying that.
I've heard that it's going to be called Battlefield 2. So I have no clue. It might be.
God,
actually, no. Is it called Battlefield 2? I don't remember. But they might be going to World War II.
Yeah, I think that's what it's going to be. It's similar like how Call of Duty World War II was.
But the thing is Battlefield 1 was pretty much, besides the setting, a World War II shooter. You had fully automatic weapons.
Well, they kind of had to add that because
it felt like a World War II.
Semi-auto.
I don't know. I think that'd be pretty cool. Weapons. I mean, it'd be annoying because there wouldn't be much of a progression system. There wouldn't really be a lot of weapons you could unlock. But
I mean, it was still a great game. It was definitely a twist on the. It wasn't historically accurate, but I could see it definitely hitting the hammer on the nail in a World War II setting, though. They can.
Definitely, yeah. I can just imagine now like a D-Day map, but it's what's it called? Fuck. What's that game mode where you like start on one side and you push up and you have to blow up bombs? Is that Rush?
Rush, yeah.
Yeah. Imagine a Rush game mode,
like,
but it's straight up on D-Day. So you start on boats and you push up and you have to like, and the bombs are in 2 pillboxes. What?
That's literally what the well that's actually a variant in Call of Duty World War II. And they actually have a map of
the
D-Day,
war mode. I played
just
that.
like that. That's
except
exactly,
it's much
yeah,
smaller.
It's
It's like micro D-Day.
Essentially exactly what it is. So it'd just be that copy and paste, but on a larger scale.
Yeah, I'd love it on a larger scale because that's what, like, when I played the D-Day map, I felt like I was like in a shoebox or something like that because it was so small. Like, you ran up the beach for maybe like 10 seconds, not even, and you'd be by the pillboxes already. I know it's Call of Duty, so the movement's smaller. You're not running for as long. But I think that worked very well in Battlefield. I'd love to see stuff like that. And I played Battlefield 1 a decent amount. I don't play it now. But I love that game, and I'd like to see what they're able to manage, what they're able to do with this new one coming out. It's got me excited, and now that I have a PC, you know where the fuck I'm picking it up. It's gonna look goddamn gorgeous. My eyeballs will be melting out of my skull.
What I was hoping it was gonna be though was at least like a bad company. So if it was like a Bad Company 3, but like World War II, you know,
That'd be cool. I like Bad Company. I liked following, because I'm not gonna lie. The idea of Battlefield 1's campaign was okay, and I liked the stories that they told, but the campaign itself, like the gameplay, I thought was doo-doo, because it was it was what they always pull, like what EA's been doing or DICE has been doing for a while. Last few installments of their games is the single player will just be like a tutorial for multiplayer. Like, here is a point on the map that you capture. Why are you doing this? No idea why, but it's going to teach you how to do it in multiplayer, where apparently everything matters. And they don't. I like the effort to build a story around all these, but you're still just doing multiplayer objectives, and it pulled me out of the story so hard. It was almost like I smacked into a wall, and the rest of the game continued without me. It just ruined the immersion entirely.
It wasn't like, I mean, what I took out of it, because I mean, 3. I like 3 and 4, you know, when they did like the more straight linear compared to how this one, where Battlefield 1 was, where it was the split stories, which wasn't necessarily a bad idea either. I see why they wanted to do it, so they can tell the different sides of the war over different terrain and blah, blah, blah. But, I mean, it was definitely like, hey, go here, do this objective. All right, now let's do here. You finish this mission. Hey, let's go here, do the next objective, this mission.
Like, there's one where you're literally capturing flags the entire thing. For the most part,
I can't recall.
It was the runner one, the Austrian one, like the final one. You run into a base and there's a little point that you have to stand in, and you capture it, and then you die. Like, I don't know.
I actually heard that it's supposed to be like that too in the new one. They're gonna carry on.
I'm okay with the vignettes and that style of storytelling. That's fine with me. I think it's okay.
I hope they can kind of slate it down.
Flesh it out. Like, you can do the campaign in Battlefield 1 in like a few hours, because the missions aren't long. They're easy for the most part. I thought the one that had the most diversity to it was the tank one. At least that one was fun. You weren't just capturing points. It had a stealth mission. It was good.
That was probably my favorite.
But then you do like the plane one, and it's literally like a defend the objective kind of thing, and then drop some bombs every once in a while. And it didn't. I felt like I was playing a video game, and I shouldn't feel like that when there's story involved. I should feel like I'm experiencing a story, not playing a game. Can you know what I'm saying? So yeah, that was my feeling on that. But I'm down for the vignettes in Battlefront. I get those two mixed up. Battlefield 2.
That's a whole other mess in its entirety.
Yeah, we're not talking about
that. Yeah.
So that was about it, man. We did a lot more than I thought we were gonna do. I thought I was only thinking about an hour, but we still the God of War discussion was good.
That, dude. We can talk about some stuff.
Yeah, we can talk about shit. That's not important.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. But hey, that's what makes it important though, is that we were talking about stuff that wasn't important.
Exactly. So before we go, I need that intro from you, mister. Wow me. I'm waiting for it.
Wouldn't it be an outro, technically?
Did I say intro?
Yeah, you did.
I meant to say outro, my bad.
So everything before that was a a
Pre-show. It was pre-show.
Yeah, this is guys. Welcome to the Thought Patrol podcast episode 69. No, that's 40. Dude, I'm gonna try to make it for. Are you doing anything special for the next podcast?
Well, we did our anniversary podcast last week, so
yeah, no, but I know technically this should be labeled as 50. So I don't know if you're gonna like do something else too or not.
I mean, if we can get everyone here, it'd be awesome. I'd love to just have everyone here, but it's not always the case.
That's life, though. What have I actually don't remember what the fuck my outros are. Like, I mean, wasn't I saying something like I don't know? I thought I had something clever. I thought of like in the last few ones, but I don't even fucking remember either. I don't think I even have anything. Okay, guys. Have a good week, guys. I'll see you next week. No, guys, I have to go dump one out. So you know.
Oh, nice, dude. Let me know how it goes.
Oh yeah.
We gotta watch those YouTube videos afterwards, though.
Yeah, we gotta do that. So, oh yeah. Well, I mean, I ain't going anywhere. But you know, I'll just you hear me flush in the background and like I'll be like, that was a good video.
Just hear Matt screaming,
just bearing down on the toilet, and you hear like the fucking toilet crack, and like there's water spilling. It's everywhere. Mom, get the towel.
Oh boy, looks like the shirt's coming off.
Yeah. But yeah, so ladies and gentlemen, be sure to wipe, ladies, front to back, gentlemen, however you like, and I'll see you all some other time.
Wonderful. And before we go, I shall leave you all with a thought. China has more English speakers than the United States.